Hi fellow Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. My name is Allison Barber. I live in Concord, North Carolina, and I just celebrated my 15th anniversary with Stampin' Up! This past Saturday. I'm super excited to be sharing a card with you today. I chose the Celebrate Sunflower stamp set, the Flowers for Every Season Designer Series paper, the Jar of Flowers stamp set. Here, I can show you. These right here, and the Massive Thanks stamp set to use today. I also will be using one of the dies from the Ornate, what is that? Ornate Layers stamp, Ornate Layers dies that Stampin' Up! Has. So I use this third size in right here. Now, the card that I chose to share with you today, and I'll have all the information in the comments as well, but the card that I chose to share with you today is a fun fold card. I think the fun fold cards are the techniques of when I first became a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator 15 years ago. I love a fun fold card. So I've used the, you can see that I've used the Flowers for Every Season Designer Series paper here on the front. I've got some of the new in color ribbon that Stampin' Up! Has. Love that ribbon. It's about 1/4 of an inch ribbon, kind of a twill ribbon, but it ties really nicely on your projects. So when you open up, the front of the card says, "This isn't just a card." And we're going to talk about that in a minute because that's a neat little trick that I want to share with you that I did. I untied my little ribbon here, and when I open up my card, here's my fun fold. So it's not just a card, it's a hug with a fold in the middle. So you can see the Flowers for Every Season Designer Series paper, some stamping in the new Bumblebee ink that we have, which is so pretty, and the Misty Moonlight in color ink I've used on the front here. So we will just tie this back up. You can also see that I've stamped my envelope and put some Designer Series paper on the back with a little some of the sunflower stamp there, and also the sentiment that's in, let's see, it's in the Celebrate Sunflower stamp set that says, "Know that you are loved." So in this time that we've all been in the last several months, some people may really be confined to their homes. So I've really loved the sentiments in the stamp sets, and I just like that on the outside of an envelope that lets somebody know that they're loved today. So let me set this to the side. Let's see. I did want to share with you, I think I had posted last week about the Stampin' Seal, that I wasn't really loving it. So after some encouragement and just really sitting down and trying it with fresh eyes again, I started using it tonight on my card, and I love it. So I really love the stickiness of it, and I've learned, I think it's some muscle memory associated with our snails that we're so used to going really fast. So I'm going to use this tonight or today, and I really loved it. So that's encouraging. I was really glad to see that. So again, I'm going to have this information in the comments, but I started with, I'll go over them really quickly. Now you can use any Designer Series paper and coordinating cardstock. So I've got a card base that's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. This is all for the front of the card. I have a piece of Bumblebee cardstock, which is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I have a piece of Designer Series paper that I've cut at 3 3/4 by 5 inches. I have my little ornate frame die that I've cut out in the Misty Moonlight. And then I have a piece to layer on top of that. This piece happens to be 1 by 2 3/8 inches, and I have a spare just in case. You never know what happens when you're filming this kind of thing. So on the inside of my card, I have 2 pieces of Whisper white cardstock that are 4 by 5 1/4. I have a piece of Designer Series paper that is from the 6 by 6 paper stack, the Flowers for Every Season, but I made a tiny little adjustment. I didn't like how close, when I did one of these cards, how close it came to the edge, so I cut just a sliver. Can you see that? It's not even 1/8 of an inch off of one side here and then the bottom. So that just makes my piece of Designer Series paper just a tiny bit smaller and just made it fit better in my card. You'll see that more in a minute. You have 2 pieces of Whisper white cardstock, and they are 2 5/8 square, so 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. Then I have a Whisper White envelope, and I have a piece of Coordinating Designer Series paper that is, I just cut this in 2 3/4 by 6, so that's going to fit nicely on the flap of our envelope. So I'm going to let me set this to the side. Oh, I have a piece of ribbon that's 24 inches long. So that gives you a nice amount to tie around your card and to tie in a nice bow on the front. Let's see, let's make the fun fold portion of this card. So my square piece of Designer Series paper, and it really, I remember doing these when I very first started as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and we did like the 12 by 12 pieces, and so it was a large piece that we made an envelope for that folds the same way. But you're going to start by folding in half both ways. So I'm just going to line these up. And because I'm not having to score this, because I cut that little sliver off, it's not going to matter. So I'm going to fold it that way in half, and I'm going to fold it the opposite way in half. Now this is the part that's going to be adhered to the card. So this is the inside of my fun fold. This is the part that's going to be adhered to the card. So I had been folding it like this. So I'm going to flip it over and fold it on the diagonal. Now, if the portion that you're going to see of the Designer Series paper has to be oriented a certain way, you'll want to pay close attention to that when you're doing these folds. Otherwise, this one's not going to make a difference, so it didn't really matter. So I flip it back to the portion that's going to be on the inside, and you can see that my diagonal folds are mountain folds. I have the valley folds that fold in half. And you're just going to pull this down together and give it a nice burnish. And we can set that to the side. So I've got 2 pieces. Let me get my card back over here. I've got 2 pieces that are on the inside, and I used from the Massive Thanks set the sentiment that says it's a hug with a fold in the middle. So I want to get my Misty Moonlight. Set this back to the side. I'm going to stamp one of these pieces. And remember, they're going to be on the diagonal. So you could have the card open top to bottom rather than left to right. I'm going to ink up my stamp and make sure it's right side up. And I'm just going to give that a little stamp right there in the middle. Hopefully it's in the middle. I'll set that to the side. Now, I added some of the sunflowers, the large sunflower, which I think is so gorgeous in that stamp set, Celebrate Sunflowers. So I used the Bumblebee ink, inked up a little bit of my sunflower, and you can choose which portion you want if it makes a difference. I'm just going to add a little color to this just so it looks nice, right? Everybody loves a good sunflower. And this one's so pretty, just so pretty. Just put a little bit right there on the edge. Push this up here. Now I do want to, the other side, I want it to be where maybe you could write something to someone. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the sunflower. Again, remember that's on the diagonal, down here in the bottom, right hand corner. And maybe just a tiny bit up here on the left. Now, if you look at my ink, my stamp, it's got something on right there. You can see that I've got a little tiny Sharpie, a silver Sharpie marker. So while my stamp was still in the red rubber, I just made a little mark that went through, I'll show you, through to the red rubber, that part, whatever that part is. So now I know exactly where to put it in. You don't have to keep trying all the way around the different ways, right? So raise your hand if you've had to do that. So let's see, let me put this to the side. So I've got the 2 pieces that are going to go on the inside of my card. We can get all of our stamping done and put our card together, right? That's the fun part. So I am using the sunflower, the flowers out of the Jar of Flowers stamp set. So just a little something different than what was in the large sunflower. I'm going to stamp a little bit of that at the bottom. And again, you can choose how much of it or which portion of that stamp that you want to put on there. I'm going to stamp this one up here in the top left corner. Set that to the side. Let's see, I think my inside pieces are just about stamped. So let's go ahead and put those together. I'm going to put that to the side because sure as the world, I'm going to put my arm in it. So let me get my card base. I always score my card bases in the middle. So I'm going to fold that over. Use my bone folder. I think I'm talking to y'all like you're first time stampers, but I don't know. That's okay, right? This is a really great day. I'm really excited that Martinette has put this together, and I appreciate everybody giving up their time and their resources to stamp so we can stamp together today. I think it's really cool. All right, so the trick with the stamp and seal is you just lay it down. Now it's not going to work. There we go. So you lay it down, just pull it, and when you stop and lift up. So I think that I was going too fast. I might have been pressing too hard. This is the most sticky adhesive I've ever come across, so that'll definitely be something to get used to, but I really like it. So I can't even imagine how sticky the Stampin' Seal Plus is. So I'm just going to go right there. See, I just stop. You see that? Just stop. I was kind of checking off, and that just doesn't work really well. So you just stop. There you go, voila. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little trick about putting this portion in our card. So, let's see, let me get my ruler out. This is going to be covered up by the inside, the little fun fold portion. So I just wanted to make a little tick mark at the 2 3/4 mark, which is going to give me that halfway point. And I can also line up the bottom of my card, the side of my card at the 2 3/4 mark, and just give it a mark there on my paper, so that'll show. I don't want to cover that up. So what I did was I took the point. It's going to be folded. I got it all folded down. I'm going to line this up right on that fold line. Pretty much line this other portion up. So you want to make sure that it'll fold, and it does fold fine. I'm going to add some of my Stampin' Seal to it, right there, while I'm holding that in place. And all I'm going to do is fold my card shut. Just like that, give it a nice burnish. When I open it up, if I hold it down, it's going to open up just like that, right? I'm just going to push this side over, add some Stampin' Seal to that. See, I'm going to liar out of me. It's okay. I do like it though. I think it's just something to kind of get more used to. So burnish that. Now I have my card. It folds up just like that. I'm going to take my sentiments that I've stamped. Ah, see, it's making a wire. Let me move it forward just a tiny bit. There we go. Remember, you're going to be on the diagonal. So I'm going to put that right in here. Good. Burnish that down. Put some adhesive on the back of this piece. Now the inside of my card's finished, right? Ooh, ah. Okay, so let's get to the front of our card. This over to the side. So I've got a piece of the Designer Series Babe paper and the flowers for all season. I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive to the back of that and add it to a piece of the bumblebee that layers. It's just 1/8 of an inch larger, so it's just a tiny bit larger, and that layers nicely. Again, watch your orientation of your card, your Designer Series paper on the front. Flip this over. I'm going to put some adhesive on the back there, in the middle. there. I'll go ahead and add this to the front. My card base. Got a little bit more area. The what's the color called? The Misty Moonlight. You got a little bit more of it showing around the edge. I'm just going to divide my ribbon in half and put it right there. Now I did add a little glue dot on the back just so that it would stay a little bit better, just so it didn't fall through. Pull one of those off. Just put that right there on the back and that'll stay. So that just makes it easier to get that so that it stays on there. There you have it. Okay, so on the Massive Thanks stamp set I really liked, this isn't just a thank you card, but I didn't need a thank you card. So I got my craft scissors out. You can use an X-Acto knife and Horace. I cut my stamp apart. I cut the thank you portion out of it so that it left me just, this isn't just a card left. So I can put this back together. It fits right back together. It was pretty easy to line this up. Just pushed it up a little bit further. So now I have, this isn't just a card. So you could also separate these out into, this isn't just a birthday card. This isn't just an anniversary card or Valentine card, whatever card you want to make. So I thought that was pretty fun that I was able to cut that portion out of that stamp. So let me put it back in here so that I don't lose it. Let's see. Set that to the side. Now I'm going to ink up. This ought to be a lot of fun so that I don't get my head in the camera. Let's see. Just so you know, this video will be unedited. I'm not a guru at editing a video yet. I'm just excited that I can do a video. So, and some of you that are doing videos for the first time, congratulations and kudos to you for stepping out of your comfort zone there. So I'm just going to ink this up. I pull it a little bit closer to me. We're going to go with it. That's why I got a second one. Let's try one more time. Might stamp this one upside down so I can have a better view of where it is. There we go. Yeah, I like that one better. Let's put this into the side. And then I did add in, I got for the jar of flowers, so I've got that stamp back out just to add a little bit of color to the front of my card. I'm going to put about a little part of that sunflower there. I'll just re-ink this up and add, I think I added that portion. There we go. And the bumblebee. Put some dimensionals on the back of this. Love dimensionals. There we go. And I'm going to adhere that to my little die that I cut out right here. Now I did run this through the machine twice, just so that it gave me a little better, it cut it out a little bit better for me. I just used my pick a tool and ran over it with a brush, and then I had to poke some of them out, but I've actually seen people that didn't poke everything out of that. Alright, so our Stampin' Seal is such a great adhesive. I'm just going to use that to go over that ribbon on the front of my card. So let's bring this over here, pull this up, and let me line it up really nicely, because I'm going to, when I put the adhesive down, it's really going to be stuck. Okay, let's try this. So pull that nice and taut. See how my fingers are sticking to that. I'm going to line this up as best as I can. And just put that right down on the front of my card. Make sure you have enough adhesive so it's sticking on there really well. I guess that might be a little bit crooked. That's good. Okay, so this isn't just a card. It's a hug with a fold in the middle. So I'm just going to tie that shut. Let's see. This one over this way. Tying those on camera is the worst. Tie it. Pull my little ribbon through. And you can trim those ends off your ribbon at an angle onto my envelope, because no naked envelopes, right? Okay, so again, I love that sunflower and the bumblebee, so I wanted to stamp that on the front of my envelope. So I'm going to ink that up. Stamp it on the front. And then you can see that I did some stamping on the back as well. So I took the Misty Moonlight again. Let me set that to the side. Made sure I had the stamp set right side up. Straighten that up a little bit. Know that you are loved. Put that to the side. Got my sunflower back out so that I can add a little more color to the back of my envelope. You can use Tombow for this. That might be a little bit easier to use on this. So you can just add a little, I try to add it closer to the edge, but just a really super thin line, because you don't want any coming out over the edges of that. Put that on there. It gives you a little wiggle room to kind of get it up a little bit closer. Flip it around to the other side. Just take my paper snips and use the envelope as the guide just to cut that right off. I did a little extra trimming if you are doing it from afar. Away, layer it down just like that. So now I have my fun fold card. This isn't just a card, it's a hug with a fold in the middle. So I really enjoyed stamping with you guys today. I know you're enjoying some great projects with some of the other demonstrators. Y'all have a great day and happy stamping. Thanks, guys.